Welcome to Game of Roses. This is Pacecase.
This is Bachelor Clues. Today's Tuesday. We have a very special episode for you. We're going to be going through some questions that you have submitted to us at Game of Roses, and we're going to be answering all of the inquiries. But before we get to that, Pacecase, I have to tell you something, and you may or may not like this.
Great. Okay. What?
You must...
Is this about matchmaker?
No, it's not. But God, I love that show. I've been watching every episode twice now.
What?
Yes.
Why?
I just need to. So
Clues, this is your scream. That is terrifying.
I love it.
Why?
It's among my favorite shows. I just like really analyzing Nick Viall's performance.
Oh, okay.
I know.
You need to watch it twice.
You know, maybe it is a scream. I think you're right. All right. Whatever. Who cares? That's what we do here. We scream, and these things happen, and you accept them. You embrace them.
An early week scream.
You power through. No. What I was going to tell you is this. I mean, you should be watching Matchmaker, but you must now watch The GOAT.
The GOAT?
This is Amazon's third wave show.
What?
Yes, third wave reality television, as you may or may not know, is what we are calling this era of reality TV where you have shows like Traitors, Special Forces World's Toughest Test, House of Villains, and now The GOAT.
Reality All-Stars.
Yes, it's reality mixed martial arts. And so The GOAT is Amazon's answer to the Traitors. It is executive...
I want to do a poll of our audience of who knows what mixed martial arts is. I feel like it won't be a high percent.
What? MMA? It's $1 billion corporation.
It? Has ever watched it?
Now merged with
but it's heavily
pro wrestling.
Male.
That's correct. But you know what basketball is, I take it. Heavily male.
Mm-hmm.
I would
watched a game, kind of.
Okay. What I was going to tell you is you have to watch The GOAT because...
Go Timberwolves. Come back. Do it for me.
They lost last night, didn't they?
An honorary Lake girl.
It's 2-2 now.
That's the one I watched. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't be watching it.
Up against Jokic. But no one's here to listen to us talk about the NBA and the last year's MVP. What they are here to listen to us talk about is maybe The GOAT, maybe not. But I'm simply saying you have to now watch it. If you love our beloved game, which I think you do, I know I do, you have to watch The GOAT for a couple of reasons. One is it is executive produced by Bill Dixon and Alon Gale. These are both longtime Bachelor producers. Alon Gale is pretty much credited for having created Bachelor in Paradise, which is, I would say for all intents and purposes, it's the Bachelor All-Star Game. And now he's expanded that into a generalized reality.
F-Boy Island.
F-Boy Island he also created. He's expanded it into kind of a generalized reality TV All-Star Game. And that's the purpose of The GOAT, is to, in quotes, find the best reality TV star. Now, there are massive things wrong with this show. Starting at the very top, the host, Daniel Tosh, I think is all wrong. The tone of the show is all wrong.
It's a weird pitch.
I know. It is, but it gets there. It gets there.
Right off the bat, there's about 50 things wrong with it.
There are multiple giant things wrong with it, yes. Even the challenges they do, the treatment of reality television, how they kind of position reality TV.
New Dark Lord?
Yes, 100%. A new Dark Lord. They need a new comedy writing staff. They need some new producers, honestly. Ooh. What they don't need is new casting producers. And I would assume Alon Gale has some hand in this as well because he can reach directly into the greatest years of The Bachelor and pull from it prime candidates like Tayshia Adams and Grocery Store Joe, who are in this first season. Now, I have watched only through 2 episodes of this. The first
Clickbait
3.
Co-hosts.
Correct. Co-workers at one point. And you get to see a little bit of that in episode 1. They chum around, they pal around, they hug each other, what have you. Now, in episode 2, a couple of very unique things happen. One, there is a man-on-man hooju in this episode, in episode 2.
In the competition?
It's in celebration of winning a competition. And, by the way, the person who performs it is Tech from The Real World 100 million years ago. I saw him when he was on that season. And I was a wee child. I was a young Clues. Maybe in college at the time or high school. At any rate, the other thing that happens in episode 2, which you must watch, is head-to-head competition between Grocery and Tasha.
In what?
The game. It's like Traders. So it basically boils down to, at the end of every round of the game, all of the players get together. Some are marked safe. They get immunity through various challenges or what have you. And then some are up for elimination. And all of the players vote on who's going to get eliminated, Survivor style. And so Tasha and Grocery in episode 2, basically it comes down to they both know one of them's getting voted off, and we see who can manipulate the crowd the best to get the other one voted out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's in episode 2.
Ugh. I feel like Tasha's going to win.
I won't go one way or another.
Okay, don't.
I will simply say that the GOAT is a brilliant, genius level third wave reality show buried under a mountain of bad jokes, Daniel Tosh, and treating reality performers and reality fans like they are stupid and not worth the time put into the show. Unfortunately,
don't like that.
No, that overarching piece of this makes it hard to get through, but Jesus Christ, there are these glimmers of brilliance that pop through the layer of bullshit that's on top of this whole thing that I think makes it worthwhile. And if they give this show a couple seasons, I don't know how well it's doing for Amazon, but if they give this show 2 or 3 seasons to get rid of Tosh and to get rid of that element of it, you've got, I think, a more kind of fun, poppy version of Traders. But just as enthralling to watch the second audience dynamic, that gameplay between these high-level reality stars.
Do people have to lie?
I mean, you certainly can. Yes.
Okay.
Because alliances get made, and then
that is one of the most interesting parts of Traders.
Yeah. Well,
that I'm finding. I'm about halfway through watching you watch season 1, and it's so good.
I would say it's a little more like Big Brother in that regard. Like alliances form very quickly, and then you can like secretly break the alliance to do something behind the back of the person making it. You know, all that kind of stuff goes down. Okay. But it's not like they're trying to ferret out a nefarious player like it is in Traders. It's not as like, the thing that works really well about Traders is there's an implied hero and villain immediately. And who do you want to win? You as a viewer are immediately put on teams. Do you want the Traders to win, or do you want the faithful to win? And that's from episode 1.
They are.
Depends on who you wind up being. But
I would say I'm almost always rooting for the Traders.
Interesting.
Like I don't get excited when they're getting rooted out. I'm like, oh no, I'm worried for them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I know people watch it in different ways and put different moralistic stances on it. Anyway, we're not here to talk about third wave, etc. But I appreciate the announcement.
Thank you.
I'm happy that you found another show that you like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. I wouldn't say that. I would just say I have to watch it, and so do you. That's all.
Okay.
I would love it.
I don't like it. I have to watch it, and so do you.
I would love it if it weren't for the bad tone and the Daniel Tosh. If it weren't for that, I would love this show, I think.
Okay. All right. I'll give it an ep.
All right.
I'll give it an ep. I'm at the bottom of my barrel right now. I'm watching Buying Beverly Hills.
Okay. Fair.
But, you know, I have to see how that show handles it versus how Real Housewives of Beverly Hills handles certain things. Anyway, we're here to do a Q&A.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. We have gathered questions from our social media, all the most actively online questions that we've gotten.
Yeah.
Whoever saw this within the last hour, we're going to answer your questions. We did see a few questions about Dark Seeker no longer being part of the team. We addressed this on the live show, but we did make the difficult decision to part ways with Dark Seeker. We have a new social media director who is now crushing it. Please show your support for her on our TikTok and Instagram. And she's even maybe going to be putting together some live events this summer. So 2020 Gore is It's taken off.
It's heating up. Some exciting things in store, certainly.
Yes.
We also saw a couple of questions about politics and things of this nature. We are absolutely against any kind of oppression, discrimination, violence, genocide going on anywhere in the world. And if you want to hear more like in-depth political kind of conversations, I have a whole podcast called The Necessary Conversation, and that's all we do on it. It's me and my family talking about like the biggest political issues of the day. Now, my dad can be a little much.
Is it family therapy?
Yeah, I think
Good
I think
to
it
warn
has
about
been.
your
Yeah,
dad.
trigger warning, my dad. I think that is
Trigger
pretty much it.
warning, my dad.
But yeah,
Let's just say Clues and his parents are, this isn't the thing they have in common.
no, my sister is also on that podcast, and she's very liberal, and we kind of just mix it up about political discourse. But again, that's available. It's called The Necessary Conversation. It's on YouTube. It's anywhere you get your podcasts. If you're more politically inclined, go check that stuff out. Now, let's get into some reality television questions, Pacecase. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Our first question.
What do we got?
Is if you had to pitch a Bachelor spin-off show that had a different format than BIP, what would it be? This comes to us from at Carrie_O'Neill_IF.
Carrie O'Neill. I want to see an all Bachelor traders show, I would say. Like, there's something so appealing to me about traders. Like, I get the Big Brother, the alliances stuff, and I mean, that's kind of like Survivor-esque. But the outright lying aspect of traders, I love. I love that people are interpreting it differently and that there's this weird, like, moral ambiguity where and people get really upset when they're basically like, some of my friends are lying to me and I can't figure out who.
Yeah.
It's such a fascinating thing to watch. And I think there's absolutely enough Bachelor players who would be fantastic at this game to cast a whole season. And that's what I want to see.
Do you think there are enough Bachelor players that a
Nick Viall,
generalized...
Sean Booth,
Yeah.
Andy Dorfman, Caitlin Bristow, Maria,
Alex Michelle, Trista
Alex
Sutter,
Michelle,
Dark Lord Harrison,
Rachel Lindsay,
Dark
Hannah
Lord
Brown,
Palmer,
all the Dark Lords.
the top 4 from Pilot Pete's season: Madison Pruitt, Hannah Sluss, Victoria Fuller, Kelsey Weir.
All the love triangles I think you want in there.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you bring back Ari and Becca and Lauren. Interesting.
Oh, Ari gets a double dip into the Traders franchise. Now, here's the thing. These names mean a lot to us. Do you think that there are enough Bachelor players that have a kind of general appeal to a reality TV audience that doesn't watch The Bachelor to make that season interesting? I don't think that
do you think there's a general reality audience that's watching BIP and not Bachelor and Bachelor? I mean, I guess.
Oh yeah, you're right. This is a Bachelor spin-off show, so it would be like.
I mean, I'm just going to Carrie's original question. A different format than BIP.
Yeah.
Bachelor spin-off show.
Right.
No, I don't think it'll get the cross demo that a traders would have. But for me, this is what I want to watch. I mean, what I really want is a combination of like Bachelor and Vanderpump.
Yeah.
And like, God, I don't know.
I'll tell you what that show
Terrace
is.
House.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah.
It's called The Top 6. And after every season of Bachelor and Bachelorette, you take the top 6 who were not among the ring winners. If somebody wins a ring, obviously they're off with the lead at that point. Whoever didn't win a ring that's in the top 6, you put them in a house in
Or if the ring winner broke up.
Or if the ring winner breaks up. You put them in a house in San Diego and you shoot 2 months with them. You do a real world basically with that top 6 as they're making their way as burgeoning influencers in the world. I would watch every season of that.
It's just a day in the life, like lifestyle type show. No competition.
Exactly.
Okay. I would like to see BIP, but you give them all their phones and they all enter on the same day and everyone is from the same city.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be down for
and
that
there's
too.
no alcohol limits or drugs.
No drug limits?
I don't know. I'm just if we're blue skying,
Right, right. Not only are
I
there no
think you
drug
let
limits,
everyone exist how they would in the real
no,
world.
you have to take 5 dried grams of
No,
psilocybin
there's no
mushrooms
forced
every
drug
day.
use,
Oh,
but you wouldn't get kicked off. That's all I'm saying.
different strokes. Well, there you have it. That's our,
Okay,
our
next
Bachelor
question.
spinoff show.
Our next question comes to us from Abby Gail May. Was there ever a point where you almost gave up on the podcast? And if so, what brought that about and what was it like? Good question.
The answer is yes, at least for me.
Uh-huh.
I remember
I remember yours.
we had a conversation at some point. I don't remember how long we'd been doing this, 4 or 5 months probably. And it was getting to a point, like, obviously
I want to say it was a year, but
no,
yeah.
I think it was like 4 or 5 months. And we had poured an insane amount of time and effort into this podcast. It was a job that we were doing for free, essentially. Yeah. And it was kind of getting to a point where, for me, just time wise, I was like, I can't keep doing this because it's actually at this point detrimental to my, at that time, real job, which was like writing TV shows and movies and stuff. And then the pandemic happened and that job went away. And it was just kind of like, well, screw it. Let me just figure this out. Let's figure out how to turn this into a job. And so that for me was the only time that I've really thought about.
You're saying COVID saved Gore.
In some ways it did. Because I just couldn't I couldn't justify the amount of time and effort being put into it unless it was commensurate, at least in some way, with the amount of time and effort I could be putting into something else that was like selling TV shows and whatever. But it wound up working like it worked. The dark energies of the pit heard my scream that day, I guess, because it was very soon after that I think we went on Chatty Broads, and then this podcast kind of became a sustainable thing for us.
Yeah, Chatty Broads really was the big jump that we got at the beginning that gave us a whole other audience. And we're eternally grateful for that pod. I don't think I ever actually almost gave up on Gore, but I can remember my low moment.
What was that?
Just when we were in the heat of all of various things going on, and I was running our social media and reading everything, and I just, I couldn't handle, my mental health couldn't handle the amount of feedback that we were getting.
Right.
And but that has gotten better. As we've expanded our team.
Yeah.
And I have been able to better put boundaries on what parts of the internet I go to. The parental controls.
That's fair. There was also a moment, I would say my flip side of this, where I was like, oh, I'm in this for life. Like, even if I wanted to get out, which I don't, there's no way to do that, was probably about season 13 or 14 of The Bachelor during the hyper binge. When we were, for those who don't know,
like Mesney?
Around there. It was when the episodes were kicking up to 2 hours apiece. There was a point where Lizzie and I were writing a book called How to Win the Bachelor. And in order to write that book, we had to get all of the data from every season of The Bachelor. It doesn't exist online, not in the way that we track it anyway, like kisses and tears and the different types of limo exits.
No one was
and all
counting this stuff. Can you believe it?
I can, but the same is true of like early sports. Early professional baseball was like this. In the early 1900s and late 1890s and stuff, there weren't people tracking every base hit, every pitch. Now all of that is tracked, and that's how the game is measured. So I even saw it back then as kind of like we were on the forefront of doing that, like recording these game metrics. But nonetheless, to do that hyper binge, to write that book, we were watching every episode of The Bachelor from episode 1, season 1 to, at the time, episode 13, season 25 in order on 2x speed, going through about 5 or 6 episodes a day of this show, just like not
all
blinking,
our waking
writing
hours.
Yeah. And there
not taking lunch, not taking weekends. I mean, I would say this is part of my low. because I was also living on my sister's floor in
Oh
San
God,
Francisco.
that's right.
In her in her like
Yeah.
office kind of. I
And
was
the
sleeping on the floor.
fires. I remember you
And
sending
just
me
watching
some
The Bachelor.
pictures from when those fires were going
Yes.
on. The sky was red, and and you
She
were just
left
in the
me, but it was the orange sky day.
yeah.
I woke up and I was like, what on earth? And I was like, did I like wake up at like 5 p.m. or something? No, I go outside. The sky is bright orange because California was once again on fire
Yeah, that was an interesting time, but I definitely remember for me
during the lockdown.
oh God, yeah, right. It was right at the beginning of it.
I was like, oh, well, I've already got a mask on.
Yeah. God. I mean, we've lived through some shit.
But it was a cloth because I didn't know anything.
But no, for me, the hyper binge wasn't like that. It was never a low. There were moments where I was like, can we really do this? Because the endurance required to do it was like, it was insane. And we had to do it in that time frame because we owed a first draft of the book by a certain due date, you know? And so it was like, we can't really take a moment off. We have to get the data as quickly as we possibly
Oh,
can.
yeah. Oh, that was something is we had fully I guess in talking with our book publisher, we had fully underestimated the amount of time it would take to
Yes, by a
watch all
lot.
of these.
By a
By
lot.
so much that it's like, did we even try to calculate this?
No, we did
And
not.
luckily my sister revealed to us how to watch it faster, so that helped a lot. But
to watch it 2x speed. I'm
we
now
were
up to
not
3x.
good at that.
By the way, I watch
mean,
pretty much everything 3x now.
It's hard to watch something at 2x. It's kind of too fast.
And to record everything is very tough. But we got thousands of pages of notes out of it and all these spreadsheets and stuff. But during that moment, I remember distinctly having the psychological thing happen where I was like, this is really hard. Are we going to be able to make it through? And then I was just like, yes, because you are this now. It's not even making it through a thing. It's just becoming what you already are.
The spreadsheet said that back to you.
That little paperclip icon from
Clues.
Microsoft Windows popped out. I'm like, I don't even use Windows. What is this? I'm in Google Docs. No, it wasn't that. But
Yes.
I just felt a kind of a weird calm washed over me, a sense of peace, an acceptance of what I was becoming during that hyper binge. And that's what I really knew. Like, this is going to be a part of me for the rest of my life, period. And I was great. I was okay with that. I was happy
I've
about
definitely
it.
already had the thought that I feel like I will be doing this podcast forever.
Yep.
So yeah.
But I don't mind it.
Those are good answers.
I actually love it. Like when you look at like ESPN.
What do you mean? I love it. It's a dream job.
There was a dude that I used to watch all the time on ESPN. He did a lot of baseball commentary. His name was Peter Gammons. And he did that job till he was like 80 or something. I'm like, yeah,
Great.
I'll do that. I got 5 or 6
yeah.
good years left in me till I hit 80.
I mean, I'm working on my longevity. I'm
Same.
trying to do yoga
Nice.
again.
I got that red light therapy.
So gore forever.
Basking in the red LEDs every night, my own personal hell.
Since
Next
you told
question.
me that you buy everything that is advertised to you on Instagram, I have started doing that, and I also bought a red light, but I haven't used it.
Well, enjoy. Shall we move on
But
to our
you'll
next
know
question?
when I do, because I'll glow.
Oh, I'll be anxiously waiting your review of red light therapy. Next question. Oh, we're getting straight to the great one here. What do you think is Nick Viall's proudest moment of his life? The moment he spends chasing. I think Fimprose was a taste that got him hooked, but what was the moment he peaked, on or off the game field? This is from Citrus Witchcraft. Oof.
The peak. I mean, we literally just did
Yeah.
our top 10 favorite moments of Nick Viall episode. What was that, last week?
Yes.
So go check that out if you didn't. The peak, I mean, I feel like it was make love.
I do too.
Why did you make love to me if you weren't in love with me, or you took things from me?
I think it was make love, if not in love, because you took things from me was done in the heat of the moment. That was during a conversation with Caitlin Bristow as she was dumping him, basically. The make love without being in love, that was written. He had weeks to prepare that. He came in with that
speed agree.
gun loaded, and he fired it. And if you go back and watch that footage, I may or may not have done this
as
hundreds of times.
as we know, everyone does.
It's game tape. I'm sorry. Look, you don't think there are people...
You don't have to apologize to me. I'm doing this.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm simply saying there are certain moments in certain other sports, Michael Jordan playoff appearances, so on and so forth. There are certain things in other sports that game tape has been analyzed by thousands of people, millions of times. That I've analyzed one particular play from who I believe to be the greatest player of all time, maybe 100 times, is nothing.
I would say that's the thing that annoyed me the most in your pitch about watching the show The GOAT.
Yeah.
Is that it sounds like Daniel Tosh doesn't respect reality TV.
Not at all.
I don't like that.
Not at all. The first lines of The GOAT are Daniel Tosh. This is like the first 7 seconds of episode 1. Daniel Tosh is trudging through the forest out by the mansion where they shoot Goat Manor, which is in Atlanta.
I love that you won't even call him Dark Lord Tosh.
No, he's not a Dark Lord.
No respect.
He's a fool. He's a jester at best. Dark Jester Tosh, DJT. I'll give him that.
Jester Tosh.
I'll give him that. But he's even a bad jester. It's like, be funny at least. That's subjective. I shouldn't be that mean about it. However, I don't even remember what I was going to say now. You got me so heated about
I don't know.
Dark Jester Tosh.
You were like coming at Dark Jester Tosh like Wells or something.
Because you could see the little kernel. You could see the seed. Let the tree grow. But the tree can't grow because there's a concrete fucking slab over the seed as it's planting roots. Anyways.
Paradise and put up a parking lot.
Yes, I think that we are correct in this. I believe that is Nick Viall's greatest moment. That said, I will also say off the field, he's had some big ones.
That was on the field.
The revelation of Griptoria, the interview he did with Gypsy Rose Blanchard,
going on Call Her Daddy.
I would even say the
country wedding,
baby, the Joyal child. These are all pretty big moments too. And just generally speaking, that podcast, I don't know.
The proposal? Oh my God,
yeah,
the elaborate like video proposal.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly when his podcast got to where it is. I don't know what that line was when he crossed the threshold to making a crap load of money at it. But whenever that was, I would say that's a big moment too. He really, in my mind, is the biggest Bachelor Nation podcast.
He has the most reviews, right?
That I don't know.
It's like hard. Yeah.
But if you look at like his YouTube channel and stuff, he's got the most subscribers. He gets the most consistent views. He definitely has the biggest one that's hosted by a player, an ex-player.
I have a follow-up question.
Sure.
That I'm going to also answer. What's your top Natalie Joy moment? Because mine is rip fairy tales to shreds. Tear fairy tales to shreds.
For me, it's a moment that she keeps repeating, which is maintaining this story that she didn't know who Nick Viall was when she first DM'd him. It's like her origin story just
her
keeps...
lore.
Yeah. That's my favorite part of Natalie Joy's
It's giving clown behavior.
That was a good one too. God.
That
she
was
has
good.
a lot. She has a lot.
Giving to Lulu. That's good. The tongue out with the middle finger, I feel like was kind of her signature look for a little bit. I loved that.
And she used it to show off her wedding ring for the first time, if you'll remember.
Sparkler.
All right. Shall we move on?
Yes. We have another question from Leandra433. I'd love to hear about Clues' and Pacecase's TV writing, if they're writing anything, pitching, etc. Cute. Love this. Cute.
All right. You want to go first, or you want me to go?
Well, have I been writing much outside of Game of Roses since COVID? No, except I have been developing a scripted half-hour show with Clues.
Yeah, we are.
And a special friend.
Yeah, we have a special friend, and we are special friends, and we are collectively making
besties. Three besties.
A special project.
Writing a bestie show.
Yeah. We're working on a half-hour comedy that all we can say is it's set in the world of reality television. So take that for what you will.
They say.
Indeed. And we're hopeful that we'll...
But yeah, I haven't been on a show since Good Place.
I haven't been
Watch
on.
episode 406
Oh,
wherever
nice.
you can. Get me those residual checks.
Yeah. I have my TV writing we're talking about here, not movies, right? My TV
Say it
writing.
all. It's not.
Oh,
Oh, I
okay.
guess it is specified, but I would like to hear it all.
All right, I'll branch out a little bit. I don't know how many TV shows I've sold. Many.
Oh my God. A humble brag.
I literally
I
don't.
don't even know how many I've sold.
I
Wow.
don't.
Okay.
It's a lot. But I have only ever had one go to series. That was Bad Judge, which is where Lizzie and I met. It was an NBC show starring Kate Walsh, and it got 13 glorious episodes before being unceremoniously thrown into the mass grave of Hollywood where all ideas are dead. And other than
And it's
that,
what Dark Emperor Fleiss roasted you about on Twitter.
what?
He like tweeted at you once that was like something about Bad Judge.
Like
Or,
shitting
like,
on the
I've
show?
yeah, like I've sold so many shows, whatever, Bad Judge or something. It was
Oh
something like
God,
that.
I don't even remember that, but that's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. But yeah, I've sold a bunch of shows, written a bunch of pilots, made a couple of other network pilots. I made one for ABC a long time ago that was about my family. I made one for CBS a long time ago with another one of my friends that I write with sometimes, Will Sasso, who I also do a podcast with called Dudesy. And more recently, I have written a couple of movies that with another friend of mine who I also met on Bad Judge Writer's Room. Her name's Amy.
Yes.
And we're trying to put together one of the things we've written right now as a project to maybe get made. That is a rom-com that I bet everybody in the pit would probably find very entertaining.
It will be. Amy is so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, Clues has written a lot of stuff. Men, Women, and Children, that movie was based on your book. Burt Wonderstone.
Yeah. Those are all the things. Working on some other secret
Yeah.
projects as well.
You know, some comedy comedy acts that you've written.
Yeah,
Some stand-up
I've written some stand-up.
for some AI.
Yeah, I've done some of that. Did a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Wrote a video game once, Saints Row the Third, if you ever have cause to play it. Let's move on to our next question. If you could go on a mini move with anyone from Bachelor Nation, who would it be? Who do you think would be the most enjoyable person or group of people to spend multiple days with? This is from @Dizza Lizza.
Well, first of all, I'm brain Deanie Babies, so we can get that good-looking footage.
Yep. Deanie Babies is shooting the whole thing.
He's, he'll get us those drone shots of whatever we're going to be doing on this mini move. Who would it be?
I'm bringing.
This depends on where we're going.
Yeah, that's true.
Who are you bringing?
Sluss for those cookies. She's gonna make some great cookies.
Sluss is driving the golf cart.
Yeah.
We know that.
I would probably throw in Braden Bowers, honestly. He just seems like a fun
Yeah.
guy to hang out
Braden
with.
Bowers and Christina Mandrell, definitely. If
Aaron
they did
Clancy.
one of those, like, come on a trip with me things,
Yeah.
that some influencers do, I would go on that.
I'd put
Clancy?
in Aaron Clancy and Bonsall. I'd want them in there. You know what? Who
Of
I'd
course
throw
you're
in there?
bringing Bonsall.
I'd throw in Tasha. After watching her on the GOAT, I'm like, damn, she looks fun as hell. I'm telling you, the GOAT does a good job, at least so far, of doing the same thing that Traders does, where it lets you see these people a little differently. Like, oh, that's actually who Tasha is. That's actually who Grocery is. Grocery, though, by the way, he is who we know he is. he's not changing your opinion at all. He's Grocery. Has always been Grocery.
Yeah, okay.
But Tasha seems like,
That's
I don't know.
good.
She seemed fun and funny. I would throw her in the mix potentially.
That's part of my favorite thing about Third Wave is, like, getting to see Ari's personality.
Yeah.
Just seeing these people in a different edit. Okay, who else would be fun?
I'll tell you
go
this.
with?
If it was like me and one person from Bachelor Nation, like Big Bear, Cabin, we're not going to see anybody else for a week. You know who it would be?
What do you mean, like a kidnapping?
Yeah, kidnapping. If it was a kidnapping, you know who it would be?
Obviously.
Who?
Vial.
No. Alex Michelle. I'd get all the answers.
I remember you once, somebody was like, who would you interview? And you said DLH. And I was like, interesting that would be your top one.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought you might put that for the cabin as well.
No, I think that would be a terrifying experience.
I'm just thinking in terms of like, I want to bring somebody where I can get all the doors open for me. I'm bringing the Fergie twins. I'm going to sit in that cup, the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
I want to sit in it like they're like one of their babies. Mm-hmm. I'm getting Joey. I think he's probably got the most face recognition. Get us in those doors. Empathetic king.
Mm. Well, I guess for that reason, we'd have to get Hannah Brown and Tyler Cameron, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, what is the mini move? What's the nature of it, I guess? Is it like a vacation where we're all just kind of holed up somewhere? Or is it like we're all going to go to Miami together and party?
Tulum.
See, this is another thing. Like, I don't like that type of thing. Who are the homebodies? That's what I want. Who are the people who just want to like sit around and watch TV and talk about it? Whoever those people are, I'm taking them.
Dear Shandy?
Yeah, I'm taking Dear Shandy.
They did that. They did one of those celebrity cruise things though.
Oh, yeah. Those seem like nightmares to me.
They leave.
Celebrity cruise, Burning Man. No thanks.
Okay, we already kind of covered this.
Yeah.
Please. Oh, Burning Man. There's been some players who have gone. Okay, I'm going to bring whoever has been to Burning Man. They're coming on my mini move too.
And that person is blocked from my mini move. Whoever it is.
Me?
No, I'm just saying whoever likes Burning Man is not generally somebody that I think I could do a mini move with. People who like to go walking around, like, oh, let's go to Rome and like spend the whole day walking the city. No. I'll take a cab to one location per day. We will look at it for 30 minutes and then go back to the hotel room where we will have a nice lunch and a nice dinner and go to bed.
30-minute timer goes off. Back to the hotel. I've been kidnapped.
Exactly. That's me. That's how I do mini moves. Sorry. Take it or leave
if it's in Rome,
I like comfort.
I would bring that Italian player who made it to hometowns, even though she couldn't speak English on Lorenzo's season. I'd bring her.
Palizzi. What was her first name? Annalise? No, Anna. I forget her name now. Agnese.
We named
her name was Agnese Palizzi.
Palizzi. Yes, Agnese. Because we named the reverse steal after those Italian players because
It's called the Italian steal, yeah.
Yeah. Please release your Dream Trader Season 3 cast. I feel like we kind of already talked about this. By the way, I put Jax Taylor on my list, and then you said he was part of the fake Traders announcement.
A thing came out today. We're recording this on Monday. They put out this like fake thing that was teasing that Jax was going to be in Trader Season 3 and also teasing that Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie were going to be in it. They're not. All right.
We got tricked again.
We did.
Bamboozled. I literally need to get through Vanderpump this season because I need to watch The Valley with Jax in it. Him and Kristen Doty because they're just they are reality stars. I would watch them do anything. I want them on Traders.
Then why aren't you watching The GOAT? Doty's on it.
You just pitched it to me. Doty's on The GOAT?
Yes.
Was it filmed before or after The Valley?
That I don't know. Definitely after Scandal.
I want to go in order.
You're going through the Doty chronology. That's going to be your next book.
I want to do the Dotyverse correctly.
I understand. All right. Our next question is from Kat Cappy. I would love to hear Clue's thoughts on the AI player in the Circle reality TV show on Netflix. Now, this may be a surprise to you. I don't even know how to describe the binge I just did of season 6. I watched the whole thing in 2 days.
Of the Circle.
13 episodes, hour long each. And I did them on about between 3.2 and 3.5 speed is where it starts to degrade and you can't follow it. It's like people jump on the screen too much and you can't follow the audio. So I just inhaled it to learn everything about it because of the AI. So what I have to say is It was not an
Too
AI.
fast. It was talking too fast.
No, it's not an AI. Maybe producers were prompting it to get things out of it, but there's no way that AI was responding to people in real time, because that technology didn't actually exist when they shot this show. You would need a human prompting it and then putting those answers back into, in quotes, the circle. I don't know how the circle is shot.
It's not just running on itself.
No. I assume that there are breaks in the shooting for producers to insert stuff or get somebody into the circle or to prompt them. I don't know how that show's shot, and I'm very curious about it. But definitely that AI was not any, at least it's not any consumer grade AI that exists. It wasn't like GPT-4 or something, ChatGPT. That said, literally today as we record this, OpenAI just came out with a huge announcement of GPT 4.0, and that can kind of do that. So they were a little late to the party, but the season they shot
early.
What's that?
Or a little early, and the next season they can put that 4 one in.
Yeah, maybe they can, but they had it saying things that were like purposely robotic, like this player said this, which means their emotional level is this, and I should do this to convey that I am emotionally, and it was just like, get over it. The thing about AI is not that it sounds like a robot. The thing about contemporary AI is that it doesn't, that it sounds like a human being. And that's what is interesting about it. It's
gotten over the uncanny valley.
Exactly. And they kind of dropped the ball there. And the way that they handled it, I mean, I guess I have to spoiler alert a little bit. They only left...
Spoiler. Circle.
They left the AI in for one episode. Nobody could find out who it was. They all had to get tasked with, figure out which player's an AI. They didn't do that. They fucked it up. They voted somebody else off.
And they just reveal it?
And then they're just like, here's who the AI was.
Annoying.
It was done horribly, in my opinion.
Isn't the whole point to then see if it can win the whole thing?
That's what I thought it was going to be. And then I started thinking, why don't we have a show where everybody's an AI except one person?
Except one. Yeah.
That would be a great show.
That's good.
And that'll be coming.
I like that.
You'll see that show within the next 3 years for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's called The Black Sheep.
Well, you could do a Love is Blind mimicry like that. Imagine if you did a Love is Blind season where all the women were AI.
How?
What do you mean how?
You just see if they'll still marry it when it's not a real person?
Of course they will. Absolutely they will. And I would wager the AIs could get so good, especially if you can tailor them to certain people, you could get it to where every guy is proposing. 100%. I'll watch that show.
I mean, tell me where to be. I'll watch it.
All right. Me too. Shall we move on?
I do like the idea of only one person's not in it. I mean, it does. That is also kind of a prank show, and Jury Duty was a little bit tough to watch because of that. Because it's oh my gosh, you're being so mean to this one sweet man.
Speaking of Jury Duty, one of the executive producers...
He thinks all his friends are reals.
...of The GOAT is Lee Eisenberg from Jury Duty. Let's move on. Have you ever recorded an interview, then not be able to air it because of a contract violation from the Avery Clark? No.
I don't think so. We have postponed an episode in order to accommodate something.
Yeah.
And I believe we've aired every interview we've recorded.
But I also think that we've cut out a few things here and there based on requests. Nothing groundbreaking, no huge tea. It was just little stuff that's I don't know if I want that in there. Fine, whatever. We definitely have done things like that, but no, every person we've ever interviewed, we have aired that interview for sure.
Number 17. Well, I guess these are not actually numbered.
Correct.
This next question. When you gonna have Will Sasso on? Asked Daniel the 666. We have.
Yeah.
We did a Welcome to the Pit with Will and his fiance.
Sometime during the pandemic. they had just watched their first season of The Bachelor at my recommendation, which was Pilot Pete's season 24.
We should
And
get him back on, though. This is a good
but
prompting.
I don't think they've watched any more Bachelor.
Okay, you got to force them to watch
Right.
Jen's season.
Okay. Molly watches a lot of reality TV, though.
Great.
So that would be a fun
I mean,
fun
are they
conversation.
watching Traders?
Did they watch Traders? I don't know if they watch Traders. She's mainly like a Real Housewives 90-day kind of area. Okay. Here's our next question. This comes from Sherry Atz Plants, I think. Do you think that trying to diversify to so many other reality shows that you haven't studied, are not experts at, like Traders, may weaken your expertise on our beloved game in the future? What a question. What do you think, Pacecase?
I thought you already were an expert on Traders.
I would put my knowledge on the U.S.
How many
Traders.
hours?
What's that?
10,000 hours to be an expert?
So they say, but I don't know if that's true or not. I will say this, though. I would put my knowledge of U.S. Traders against anyone else's. I haven't watched any of the other seasons, though, so I would say I'm not quite an expert at it. I'm definitely at this point an expert at the gameplay mechanics of Werewolf, Mafia, Traders, whatever name you give it. I would wager that I probably know more about that than most people going into the game, and can therefore derive certain strategies. But
I would wager that as well.
Thank you. To answer the question, does it weaken our expertise of our beloved game? Not at all. If anything, it strengthens it, because you get to start seeing, again, we've talked about this third wave, but it's very important what's happening in reality TV right now. There is a whole expanse of these shows. Like if you watched, for example, The GOAT, Joey Sasso was on it. Joey Sasso is also a perfect match.
Perfect match.
He's getting out there. He's doing his thing.
He's so good.
Reza Farahàn from Shaws of Sunset was on Traders, The GOAT, and is now, was on it nonetheless, was cast on it, and was in an episode of The Matchmaker with Patty Stanger. He was there for like emotional support for Gigi from Shaws of Sunset, who was getting set up on a date in episode 1. So he's really making the rounds of these third waves. Absolutely. And so what you now are watching is, how do these third wave shows affect people's reasoning for going into a show like The Bachelor, our beloved game? It's all part of the same thing. The Bachelor is what it is. Big Brother is what it is. Survivor, all of these shows. But they're all part of the same thing, which is the game of reality television. That's the real game you're playing now. How do you turn an appearance from Bachelor into maybe being the Bachelor or Bachelorette? But certainly, how do you turn it into existing on these third wave shows for the next 5 years of your life and just rake in money?
Extending your influencer career. I would also say that The Bachelor does not exist in a vacuum. Like, these other shows do affect The Bachelor. The season where they literally stole a bastardized version of Casa Amor from Love Island on Bachelor in Paradise, they are borrowing things from these other shows that are working. Sometimes they're not doing them right, but they're certainly affecting it. And if people do like great storylines on one or the other, I remember there was some Bachelor Canada storyline that they then repeated. Maybe it was the Becca Martinez one or something, like Too Young to Be Serious.
Yeah.
They have borrowed across those.
Yeah.
And I think they'll continue to do so. They have been more experimental in like Bachelor Australia. I know it's still Bachelor, but I just think all of these shows affect each other, and they can get inspiration from people who are playing on any of them.
I completely agree. And if anything, it makes me really zero in when I'm watching The Bachelor now, because I'm looking for play styles and skills and attitudes that I'm like, how will that translate into Traders? How will that translate into The GOAT? And you can start to see, even when you're just watching The Bachelor, which is an entry-level game, you can start to see who's going to be good at that stuff. Like Maria, for example, is, I think, probably most recent on everyone's mind. You know, when we're watching The Bachelor, it's like, yes, I care about who wins that season and who goes far, but I'm also looking for these other things now out of The Bachelor that's like, who's going to be a reality star that comes out of this franchise? Because you can exist in the world of The Bachelor for a little while, but once you go through, even in a best case scenario, you can Nick Violet back-to-back 2 seasons of the main show, go on Bachelor in Paradise, and then become the Crown. That's 4 years. Then you're out. You can come around still as like a Sean Lowe type, proof of the process figure, but you're out of the game. And then what do? You better be getting in one of these third wave shows. Sure, a podcast. But if you want to be on TV, which Vial has now done, he's in Matchmaker to some degree. He's in it. He's on the screen, okay?
Okay. I haven't watched it.
Well,
I'm going fully off of what you're saying happens.
Trust me, he's on the screen.
When you're saying, trust me, he's on the screen, it sounds like he's not in the show.
He is.
Okay.
He's on the show. Anyway.
Well, also supporting us expanding into these other games, watching you watch Love is Blind and identifying that Jess Vestal could have been on Bachelor, perhaps should have been on Bachelor, but is choosing to go on Love is Blind and still getting these huge numbers. It's an indicator that maybe Bachelor needs to step up in terms of casting and make it more of a draw.
Totally.
Because you're competing with these other shows.
Absolutely. And a lot of what we were saying about like how to save Bachelor in Paradise, we can look at a show like Love is Blind and be like, oh, they do all their players from one, or at least the line that they're putting out is all the players are from one city. That's not true. They lie about it all the time. At least
the same area, but yeah.
But yeah, so we can look at that game and say, oh, wouldn't that make our beloved game way better if they did that on Paradise or any main season, really? And so it behooves us actually to cover these other shows to then comment on it. And, potentially someone's listening who could make that change or who might hear that and think, oh, this would be good. We do think that we have affected our beloved game, at least in a couple of ways, for what they've done in the most recent seasons. And that comes from us watching these other shows and seeing what they're doing better.
I mean, steel sharpens steel, baby.
Yep, that's right.
Just like you and me.
Right. We are the steel of Bachelor Nation.
We got so many other questions. We're going to do a part 2 of this. Yeah. So continue to submit them via our Instagram at Game of Roses Pod. And maybe we will answer your questions on our next Q&A episode.
Let's do one more. Let's do one more short one.
Okay.
F, marry, kill.
Oh, God.
DLH, DLC, DLNL. This is Dark Lord Harrison, a.k.a. Chris Harrison. Dark Lord Cumming, a.k.a. Alan Cumming on The Traitors. And Dark Lord Nick Lachey, a.k.a. Nick Lachey from Love is Blind.
Marry Dark Lord Cumming. Bang. NL.
Kill Harrison?
I mean, you said I have to answer fuck, marry, kill. I thought someone has to be killed.
You're not thinking about this correctly.
Bang,
that's all I can say.
Marry, and cast aside.
Okay. I think I go a different direction. I think you have to kill Dark Lord Nick Lachey. He's useless on that show anyway. Dark Lord Vanessa Lachey is the Dark Lord on record, I believe, of that show. I think you're effing Dark Lord Cumming. That just seems like the most fun to me. I think that would be the best option in that category for effing. Now, Dark Lord Harrison, I'm going to have to marry him for a variety of reasons. One, I get to break up his marriage with Lauren Zima. It becomes the biggest news in Bachelor Nation for a little while.
That's the benefit. You get to break up a marriage. Okay.
I'm the homewrecker in that scenario.
Yeah.
2, I believe I would be given a guest hosting spot on all of his Merit Media shows, or at least an executive producer credit on his upcoming dating show, and I get to become a personality on Merit Street. Well, I could then bend Merit Street Media to my will, turning it into whatever I saw fit. And obviously, of these 3 people, if you're just looking at it financially, Dark Lord Harrison has the most money.
What?
for sure.
You think he has more money than DLNO?
Absolutely. He's been doing Bachelor for 20 plus whatever years. He just got a $9 million infusion. What do you think his deal with Merit Street Media is? It ain't for nothing. He's making money off that.
I mean, that is a good argument. I'm marrying Cumming, though, because that... what a joy that would be.
It would be a much more...
A marriage with this man.
A much more fun life,
talent.
for sure. You get to go around the world having fun parties and stuff. You always see on his social media, he has a club in New York, Club Cumming. And it's like, he's there all the time, having these fun events. I agree it would be fun. I agree it would be fun, but I'd keep him on the side. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, look, I see that it's coming from a different perspective as you're answering as a man and I'm a woman, but yeah, I just have to disagree with you, especially on your reason for DLNL to cast him aside so that he's not hosting Love is Blind. That doesn't make any sense to me, but
yeah, I mean, I just simply don't think he adds much value to that show. To me, it's DLVO.
But it's not about being on the show.
If you're killing someone, it means they can no longer render hosting duties on their show, I assume. I mean...
Cast aside. It just means you're not marrying or banging them.
Oh.
They can still host.
Oh, I misunderstood the rules of the game. Well, there you have it.
I don't know.
Nonetheless.
I guess you can, yeah.
Those are our answers for these questions. But yes, like Pacecase said, we got a bunch more questions to get through. We will be doing another one of these episodes at some point in the near future. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for everyone who sent in your questions. These are always super fun to do. Some of them
really
are like...
good cues.
Yeah, we'll trip down memory lane. But before we go, Pacecase, as always, what is that dwab at?
It's been 8,086 days without an Asian bachelor. Praise be Dark Lord Palmer.
You ask the questions, we give the answers.